Good morning, you guys. It is Tuesday morning. It is finally past the election, so we're super excited about that. This is Rise and Thrive. I'm Trisha Turner. Rise and Thrive is here to bring you positivity, to bring you success secrets, strategies to help you grow your business, to grow your life. And I love hearing people's stories, of course. And literally, I have my dear friend Nick Krem on with me today, and he has been instrumental in my life for so many years in so many different aspects using StreamYard, which is what we're on right now. He showed me that years ago, helping me launch my first podcast, Anything But Average, years ago. Then we did it all in the midst of COVID and live with leaders. And we have just together always done stuff to level up, to do more, to be more. And so I thought, holy crap, man, as the world is, I believe, coming out of 2 years of really 3 years of just craziness and uncertainty. I think 25 is going to be explosive. So Nick, I'm so honored that you're here today to bring some energy and some excitement.
Yeah, Trisha, thank you so much for having me. And as you were saying that too, I believe you're one of the very few people who have known me since my call center days. All the way back to even before I started my business, we were in contact, we were in communication. So we do go pretty far back here.
We
Trisha.
do. It's crazy, y'all. So when you hear Nick's story, for one, I run a real estate company and I met Nick years ago. I've always hired ISAs, which is an inside sales associate, and outsourced it because that's what you got to do to scale. And when you can't make your own calls. And that's how I met Nick years ago. Nick, kind of walk everybody through what you've been doing in this last 10 years to where you are today.
Wow. I think that's, So just going back to how this all got started, I was actually a day away from working in a warehouse, right? So when I think I was 20 years old at the time. And, at that time, dropped out of college, was working odd end jobs, didn't really know what I was doing. And then finally, after about a year or two of that, my dad's like, all right, listen, you either got to get a legitimate job or you got to get out of here, right? And look, I was 20 years old with zero prospects. So, well warranted for my dad to tell me to go do that, right? It was about time somebody put a little boot in my butt, right?
Yeah.
But so then I was about to get a job at a warehouse, but I knew deep down that that's just not what I was meant to do. I did not want to work in a warehouse. It just wasn't for me, right? And then I got a call at about 9 p.m. the night before I was going to start. Literally the night before I was going to start. And you know what's funny, Trisha? I applied for all these different sales jobs at the time, but I had zero experience in sales. So they all turned me down. And I'm like, if you just talk to me, I feel like I'd be good at sales, right?
Yes.
Nobody would even talk to me. So then I got a call from Matt Milia from Appointments Today, and he's like, hey, look, we're looking to grow. We need to bring somebody on to help make calls at our call center. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done. Told my friend to drop me off. I drove over there that night. We talked about it. He got me a job. And that's how I got started in the real estate industry. So I got started, and then I actually got kicked out of the house because I didn't take the warehouse job. So I then had to sleep on my buddy's couch, making calls 24/7. And I'm telling you, Trisha, I was making calls 15 hours a day at some point, 8 a.m. on the East Coast to 8 p.m. on the West Coast. But, being able to work there, it was my cousin's husband who got me the job. That's where I met Al Stasik. So then from there, we were able to keep growing we were able to grow that call center. And at one time I was managing 50, 60 clients at a given point at 22 years old, managing these clients. That's how I got to meet you.
Yeah.
And, I learned some great lessons during that time, which kind of bolstered up my next path to starting my own business.
Okay, so for you guys that don't know Nick, you need to, because he's number one, full of energy, as you can see. But he's he's never afraid to, or if he is, he doesn't show it, to go out there and be innovative and try something new. And he's in Ohio. He lives in Ohio, but he went through a stint where he lived in Florida. Even Nick, walk people through what all that was, because I believe, and only but I believe you were seeking something, always taking that next step to get to where you're supposed to be. Walk through that, because you were doing podcasts, you were creating content, you had a videographer living with you, your house, the content house. Remember, I went there.
I know. Yeah. That, Trisha, I was talking about this with my brother the other day, and I'm like, really taking a look at what we did. Because, all right, so for people who don't know, we did move down to Florida, right? So we were living in Cleveland, Ohio, born and raised. We were living in Florida. It was actually because of COVID is the main reason we moved down at first, at least as soon as we did, because Cleveland was going into lockdown. They said I couldn't go outside of my apartment. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I moved that week and I'm like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to Florida then because they're open. But we were already planning on moving down to Florida, right? Because, we were starting to get some business partners and people working out there. But we moved down to Florida. And then about a year and a half into it, my brother moved down to about 6 months. He moved down. We lived there for a year. And then we decided to get this content house, right? And it was, we were listening to Grant Cardone and we were listening to all these different people. And they were saying, listen, if you get $1 million house, you can do this, this, and this. And I'm like, screw it. Let's do that. Because we knew that like real estate agents, the biggest thing that we realized was, actually sitting down, spending the time to shoot enough content was the biggest struggle. How do you block out a chunk of time, but also get the absolute most out of that chunk of time? So I'm like, if we create a place that has all these different studios that we can shoot content for, then agents can come to us and we can help them build their brand. So that's what we did. So we got the house, 7-bedroom house, turned into a giant video studio. We kept the flat downtown so that way you guys could stay downtown and then shoot content in the content house. And, I look back on that and we were talking about this. I'm like, man, if I would have known everything that would go into that, even like going to IKEA one day and dropping $40,000 at IKEA and the house still wasn't full. And I'm like, oh, like, all right, like now we got to figure out more ways to fill this house. Look, we're 26, 27 at the time. And it's like, I didn't know how much stuff you needed to fill a 7-bedroom house, but we're going to figure it out. But if I would have known, I'm sure you may have thought this or at some point, it's like, man, sometimes the ignorance of the situation got me through it because I didn't really know that, like, man, at one point we had to take out a couple loans to get things through, like make sure things are going through because this house was a huge investment. And then, just the different situations we were in, but we had one thought in mind, which is just, I don't know what, I don't know how, but we're going to get this done. Right.
Did you, when you were doing all that, and for you guys that don't know, like Nick has a huge audience and we're all super tight. We've known each other for years. And so he was just having all of us like come to his content house, shooting content like crazy, like blowing our stuff up, creating stuff for us like crazy. And always like bringing, like, I will tell you this, Nick, doesn't matter what you get involved in, like you're always coming up with a strategy. You're never just like, or you never appear like you're just winging it. You're always like, all right, this is what we're doing. It's like laser focused and it's very intentional and it's very methodical and it rolls. And then you pivot and it's so crazy to watch because I know you and I believe you keep like what you're going to do next kind of close by until you're ready to launch. And then when you launch, you're like, boom, now I'm doing this. And every time you do it, it grows and it grows and it grows. And so when I saw you, and I knew your lease was coming up and you were thinking about moving to Houston even at one point.
We were.
And then you went back home.
Yeah.
What transpired there?
We were thinking about Houston. I remember we were calling, we were having that conversation. Houston's a great area. What happened? So moving to Sarasota really changed a lot. So we lived in, we were in Orlando. We had the content house and we did that. Then we moved to Sarasota and spent time on the water. And something happened in our trip to Vegas, and it just really completely shifted our mindset about what are we really looking to accomplish, not just in business, but in life, and really looking at the totality of everything and saying, what's the most important thing to me? Right. And it really came down to that. What's the most important thing to me? And, I come from a family where I love my mom and dad, right? Great relationship with them. They're some of my best friends, right? It's funny. Growing up, if you told people that my brother, my sister, my mom and dad are my best friends, you'd be like, lame, you got no friends. And nowadays I'm like, hey, these are literally my best friends and who I hang out with all the time. I got 56 first cousins that all live pretty much within Cleveland. There's some people that moved away a little bit, and then a bunch of aunts and uncles. So I'm like, what do I love doing more than anything else? Spending time with family. I can travel. I can do all these things in my spare time. Heck, we'll even get a place somewhere else. But right now there's nothing more important than me for family. I've told myself that a bunch, But then I started taking a look at my actions. I'm like, man, if I keep moving away, my actions aren't aligning with what I tell myself and what I'm telling
Yeah.
other people that family's so important. So we decided to move back to Cleveland and actually took the entire year off from events. I said no to a lot of big speaking events throughout the year. Especially because we launched the Krem Institute. We're talking about
Yes.
AI, and we got a lot of phone calls like, "Hey, come speak, come speak, come speak." And we said, "Nope, we're not doing speaking events the whole year." And I didn't do any in-person conferences all year. So I decided to take that year, get my mind right, get myself right, spend time with family. We're like what you're
I
saying,
love
pivot and
that.
launching for 2025.
And you guys, so his brother and they're business partners. And so you rarely
Yeah.
see his brother on this scene, but he's behind the scenes, like doing all kinds of stuff with Nick too. And I remember when I ran into you guys at 10X, remember that? And that was the first time I had met your
Oh
brother
yeah.
years ago. I
Yeah.
didn't even know he existed because it's you
Yeah.
always, you know? And then
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
met
Yeah.
him. Well, now here we are, 2024. How in the world did you know AI was going to take off like it is? Because you pivoted
Yeah.
from the content house, from creating all these things for real estate agents and
We
their
shut it all
brand,
down.
and
Yeah.
then boom, off to Cleveland you go. You clearly locked yourself up for a year and
Yeah.
built this amazing business. Talk to us,
Yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah. And we have some fun things that we'll be launching here in
I
2025
bet.
too. But how do we know that it was going to be this way? Well,
Yeah.
I think there's a couple different things. One, for the last starting from the call center days, that's why I got started to understand how important branding, marketing is, and like staying top of mind, right? So that's why we launched the branding and marketing company,
Yep.
where we were helping real estate agents. It was funny because like looking back on it, we launched the digital business card before COVID hit, right?
Yes.
And then all of a sudden everybody had digital business cards. We're like, oh, this worked out perfectly. We already had this. We launched that giant virtual event live with leaders right when it hit. We started
Yep.
doing StreamYard like many years ago and got people into this. Started doing Reels, and then Reels got hot. And we're like, all right, let's stay down this path because we have a pretty good idea of when we think something's going to happen next. Now it almost happens every time. And then AI started coming into the picture, and some of our team members actually brought it to our attention, like, hey, you really need to check this out, because they were doing a lot of work on the back end. They were constantly researching new tech. So then we looked at it, and then I couldn't stop looking at it. I could not unsee where this is going. And the more I dove into it, the more I just realized that this is quite literally a once in a lifetime opportunity. My
Mhm.
brother called it the TOT, the turn of the times, right? Turn of
Yep.
the time things, Gutenberg moments, right? The Gutenberg who created the printing press, which then could then print the Bible, which then that was mass spread the Bible around the world. And the Gutenberg moments is what they call them. And we're actually in about 12. They said there's about 12 Gutenberg moments all happening at once, revolving, and AI being very much at the center of them.
Oh yeah.
Because now it's not just artificial intelligence. We are talking about humanoid robots. We are talking about drones. We are talking about solar energy just literally becoming completely abundant because of AI being combined with it. We are talking about literally rewriting the DNA, rewriting people's DNA to completely get rid of diseases, creating designer babies through
Right.
AI. It like these things are happening.
Yeah.
And when we took a look at this, I was actually just watching this thing on Netflix, because I'm sitting here, I'm watching my baby, my niece, and I'm like, you know what? We're gonna put something on about educational, right? And it was about life on planet Earth. And they said there are three undeniable rules of life. The first is the most adaptable wins. Undeniable. Most adaptable wins. You see, there's 99% of species on planet Earth have went extinct. We are the 1%, actually. So, most adaptable wins. Two is competition drives adaptation, right? If people are adapting, and I believe in collaboration over
Yeah.
competition, but competition exists,
Right.
right? You got to stay ahead. And the third is that Earth is never stable, it is constantly changing.
Yeah.
And I just look at this as this AI wave is going to take a lot of people out of business,
It
because
is.
they're just not going to adapt. And my brother and I, we shut down our company and launched the Krem Institute, because we're like, we're going to adapt, we're going to pivot hard, because it is not even a choice whether people want to need to adapt or not. You either adapt or you die.
Yes.
So we made the decision to change.
It's crazy that you say all that. So I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast 2 days ago, and he was talking about AI, and he was like, "This AI thing is out of control. Like it came, we knew about it, but and it existed, but then all of a sudden it was just like churning ever so fast, and
Yeah,
now here we are in 2024, and graphic designers, who needs them? Like every accountants,
yeah,
who needs them? It's like
yeah,
holy when you start looking at who needs them, wow. And so then you
yeah,
look at, because he was talking about the wave of the future and people that are going to college. Well, what are you going to go to college for? Are you going to go be an accountant? That's going to be obsolete. Are you going to be a graphic designer? That too. So
yeah,
then it's like, well, holy crap, like now what? And then even like call centers, there's
yeah,
robots, they sound like humans. You don't
yeah.
know you're talking to one.
I think even like, yeah, absolutely. And even beyond that, too, college.
Yeah,
I can get artificial intelligence to become my private tutor to teach me anything in the world.
yeah,
What, like that's going to revolutionize education and be able to learn at such a higher level, be able to actually be able to custom tailor a game plan just for your kids' needs and what they really want to learn.
oh yeah,
It's going to, this is really the learner's revolution because AI is here for people who have a desire to learn. If you have a desire to learn, you're going to love artificial intelligence because, something that we've heard a bunch about is, you can tell someone's intelligence by the questions that they ask,
oh
right?
yeah,
With AI now, it is garbage in, garbage out. So the better you are at asking questions and prompting it, the better results you're going to get. And, it's prompting is a language all in itself, and it's the language of the future, right? Like, we have to start looking at AI as not a tool. It is so much more than a tool. This is a new species getting
yeah,
introduced to mankind. This is a new species getting introduced to the world. And we're raising it right now. You get to raise and grow this new species. Start looking at this as your best employee that you've always wanted. And, we're in the age where AI is going to be our closest collaborator,
oh yeah.
right?
Isn't that crazy though? Because remember years ago when we were working on when I think it was even when you were still at the call center and you
Yeah.
were introducing bots. Remember that? And you were like, I
Yes.
got to show you these bots, how they'll communicate in Facebook Messenger. Remember that? And
Yes,
that
I
was like
do.
years ago. And who thought,
Yeah.
like, I didn't even correlate it to that's artificial intelligence and where it would go. What in the world made you guys be like, this thing's going to take off and then like stop everything that you're doing and get laser focused on learning
Yeah.
it and then
Yeah.
adapting? And now you're out there people helping people grow their business.
Yeah. No, that's a great question, Trisha. And I think you're right. Like we did see bots and things back then, which were
Yeah.
little pieces of it. And I really looked at it as we saw Harvard all of a sudden create AI certified engineers, and we saw AI certified scientists. MIT created the United States Artificial Intelligence Institute. And I'm like, the biggest Microsoft created AI engineers. I'm like, the biggest, most prestigious colleges, institutions, and places in the world are making these shifts. They are literally taking their degrees and making them obsolete because of
Yeah.
this. So we have a choice. We either do nothing, right? Do nothing and sit on the sidelines and watch and wait. And I'll tell you what, Trisha, with AI, that is the absolute worst thing you can do
Mhm.
because it works in exponentials. See, a lot of times the human brain works in linears. We think, here's what this is, then this happens next, and then this happens. That's not how AI works. AI is working exponentially, where every 6 months it is doubling how smart it is, how much it grows. And then it doubles again and it doubles again. Sitting on the sidelines is pretty much signing your death certificate here in this industry because it is going to keep adapting. It's going to keep growing. We saw the biggest institutions jump onto it. We started jumping onto it. We actually got invited into a group with only 150 CEOs in the world. They're talking about longevity, robotics, and artificial intelligence and what's really coming. And I thought something that was really interesting is if you ask somebody, where is all of this going? And they give
Yeah,
you an answer, don't listen to that person. Here's why, Trisha. Elon Musk. You can make an argument the greatest entrepreneur to ever live.
for
You can make an
sure.
argument for it, right? You got 300 of the smartest minds together around AI, robotics, and everything. And they wanted to know one thing. Where is this going? And you know what? Every single one of them came back to him and said, smartest minds in the world, we don't know. Because of how quickly this is growing, adapting, and the compound effect of artificial intelligence, where by 2030, it'll be smarter than all humans combined and be able to process information and grow and solve problems. So where is this going? I don't know. But where it is, you'll find us. That's what I do know.
So when you guys launched Krem Institute, talk everyone
Yeah.
through that, like, because again, that was a bold move and you guys scaled
Yeah.
that super fast. You've been on publications, y'all have been everywhere. Walk us
Yeah.
through that.
Yeah, so we launched the Krem Institute of Artificial Intelligence with one goal in mind. It's, to create the evolution of the real estate agent. That is still our massively transformative purpose, is we want to create the evolution of the real estate agent because I know that real estate is better with humans in it, right? Real estate is better with humans in it. And real estate agents there is literally not a future where real estate agents don't have to learn AI. Period. There's not a future that exists where humans, anybody here, doesn't have to learn AI.
Yeah.
So I looked at this and said, all of my best friends are in real estate. All of my close friends and clients are real estate agents. Yeah. I believe real estate is better with humans in it. My brother just texted me that because that was a good line, because I'm like, what is he saying to me right now? But humans plus AI, that's the future. That's the future in real estate. And I looked at this and I'm like, one thing we do extremely well is we like making things simple, right?
Yeah.
I like taking a look at a very complex situation and saying, I'll never forget, I was on a call, a guy named Jay, and we were sitting there and we were solving a problem. I was going in depth about all the things we were trying to solve. And he said, whoa, 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 whoa. Do I need to know this for it to work? I'm like, no. Say, give me the minimal effective dose. And then we started running our business by that. So I looked at this complexity that is AI, and I don't want my friends and my clients and my business partners to be replaced by AI or by people using it better. So I'm like, I'm going to create a simple solution to help my people in the real estate industry make the transition into an AI-powered business. So we created the world's first AI certified agent. Right. So we created the world's first AI certified agent, complete with the AI listing advantage. So that's what we did. And our goal, to help real estate agents make a transition into an AI powered business, save hours of their time.
Now you launched that. What has it been, 2 years now?
It's been 2 years now. Yes.
That's what I thought. How many agents have y'all trained?
We have over 750 AI certified agents across over 40 states and 4 different countries. And we have over 900 some students in our programs right now.
Which is crazy because I know you become obsessed with things, and your brother, but in this industry, and you know better than me, but I would imagine that you have to stay so far advanced because again, AI is advancing at freaking light years. It's like, holy crap. And everyone says it. They're like, they had no idea how fast it was going to go and how it was just going to like take over. How are you staying that advanced where you're like in tune with everything?
That's a great question because, it's going to continue to grow. It's going to continue to advance. And the cool thing about AI is there are so many ways to use it.
Yes.
There really are so many ways to use it. That's why I kind of laugh at some people like, this is the one way you should use it in the industry. And like, there are literally millions of ways that you can use this tool. What we are providing is just a roadmap, the best roadmap that we see fit. How are we staying ahead? Well, for us, we have some good plans for this, for what we're launching in 2025, as well as becoming the platform company that will continue to attract people who are using it in different ways and provide them a place where they can share it with other agents too. And for us, we work with agents and we have like a tight-knit group, the AI Real Estate Society on the back end, a private group. And we're constantly just asking like, hey, what are you seeing? Are you attending other trainings? Send us training. Send us what you're seeing. So we have good feelers, literally agents in different countries around the United States. Any person who is providing AI training, I'm either attending or a person on my team is attending to just stay in the loop. Look, this problem is way too big to ignore,
Yeah.
and it's way too big to do alone. So I know this. So look, I'm going to be forming partnerships with a lot of different tech companies, different tools, different people who are forming AI, because at the end of the day, you say it best, we're better together. So,
We are.
I'm constantly forming, the best copycat wins.
Yeah.
I'm going to attend everyone's training and figure out what really works and keep bringing it back.
You know what's crazy, Nick, is since COVID, the real estate market took off during COVID, and then June of 22, it freaking changed because the interest rates started hiking up. And then in 2023, everybody was like, "Oh, it's not that bad," and I was like, "Bullshit! This freaking market sucks." Well, guess what? Now, finally, fourth quarter of 24, reports are all coming in. They're like, actually, sales transactions are at the lowest we've seen since 1995. So now people are like, oh, no wonder everyone's broke and no wonder sales are in the toilet. How crazy that artificial intelligence, while the real estate market has been kind of humming along, but at a much lower pace, but AI is like, shoot, what we're seeing. And I think it just kind of goes together is that real estate agents are exiting the industry. Number one, because they can't get a home sold, so they have no income. Number two, because they're not keeping up with intelligence and learning how to do this. And there's brokerages and team leaders out there that also have their head in the sand. They're like, I'm not going to use artificial intelligence. I don't get it. And it's not necessary. It's like, what do you say to all of that, Nick?
What I will say is pack your bags and just call it. Like, seriously, like, if you don't have a desire to learn and grow and change, like I said, there are irrefutable laws of life. The most adaptable wins. This isn't, it's like saying with the internet first came out, look, what were people? They were scared. They were afraid. They didn't know how to use it. And imagine if somebody was trying to start the real estate brokerage today and they said, oh yeah, that internet thing, I'm not going to use that.
Yeah.
You look at them and be like, then you can't be in the business, right?
Yeah.
The reality is there is no future in real estate without learning how to use artificial intelligence. It simply does not exist.
No.
And there's no future in the world without learning how to use artificial intelligence. It just does not exist. And you can say whatever you want, you can fight it, you can do all these things, but the quicker you just wrap your mind around this, because if you really knew where this was going, which we can all paint a picture of where this is going with AI, I ask you this too, Trisha. What would you be doing differently in your business, in your organization? If you knew AI was going to be the biggest thing in the world, what would you be doing differently today? Are you treating it like this is the biggest evolution this is the biggest technological advancement in human history? Are you treating it that way? Because the reality is most people are going to be walking around angry and bitter 5 to 10 years from now because they are simply existing in an AI-powered world and they did nothing to take advantage of it.
So funny that you say that. Another thing Joe Rogan said on this podcast was he said they're even predicting that truckers are going to be obsolete because there's going to be robot-controlled self-driving trucks because it's a massive industry and they could save so much money if they didn't have truckers. And the guy he was interviewing was like, holy crap, that would be devastating because that is one of the massive industries out there. And when you just said that, it's like, so every year in the real estate world and me, I've been running a business for years. And so November till like the end of December, I'm planning, like, what are we going to spend money on next year? What are we not going to spend money on? What do we need to change? Crazy that you asked that, because right when you asked that, I was thinking, because right now we're looking at, do we want to continue that? Do we want, and everyone's calling, vendors are calling, like wanting to hook up with us. And I'm thinking, I'm not saying yes to anyone because I'm like, hold on a second. Can AI do this better? Can we incorporate AI and eliminate that expense completely? And we can.
Trisha, we've cut our expenses by over 75% and we've expanded because of artificial intelligence. The thing is, some teams will embrace AI. And here's the scary part for everybody else. And this is where I say competition drives adaptation. Because imagine this, Trisha, you keep going around business as usual. The market is, like you said, not as many homes are being sold. So your expenses are here or even grow, right? But then there's another team who says, I'm going to fully embrace AI in my marketing, my branding, and everything else. Their expenses go to here, but they're marketing more, they're branding more, they're increasing their exposure, their outreach. So, you know what's going to happen? They're going to start getting more business. And here's the cool part about AI: as you scale your business, you don't have to scale your expenses. So, for this team that's running on this budget and now they're growing their business, what happens to this team whose budget is here? They either have to shrink their budget, which means less marketing, less branding, less leads. And is their business going to grow? No. Or they have to spend more money on leads to get a smaller market share. They are literally going to be weeded out of the business.
Yes.
Because they refuse to adapt. And that's just going to happen time and time and time again. Because now a solo agent can outmarket the biggest team using AI. That's a shift that nobody is talking about or sees coming.
And it's the ones that are studying it and getting certified and working with people like you that are training people. It's funny that you said that. A dear friend of mine runs a big independent brokerage, and it's an old school model, right? It's not cloud-based. It's all old school. And I've been talking like this is going to be, you're running a blockbuster there. And because this market's been down, she's literally bleeding out expenses. She has a massive staff, even though the market has shifted and you're not doing that kind of volume. And I'm like, do you realize like you could get rid of 3/4 of your staff with technology where it is now? You could cut your expenses by 75%. And she doesn't see it. And I'm like, she continues, and it's mind blowing to me because all of a sudden you're going to wake up and you're going to be broke and in a situation, and it's going to be too far ahead of you.
Yeah. And it's the only thing holding people back from taking advantage of this is having a desire to learn and form partnerships. That's it. It's a desire to learn and form partnerships. I truly believe who you partner with matters. And this is a way that you can't look, team leaders especially, how much blood, sweat, tears, mastermind, money spent, loans taken out, businesses like vacations ruined because you're growing this business. You haven't spent all that time, energy, and effort to be taken out by something coming as obvious as AI. Because let's face it, it is obvious. We all know this is coming. Don't let something coming as obvious as this be the reason that you hang up the call. You hang it up.
Because you guys have been in this for 2 years, you're working with people across the nation. What are you seeing some of the biggest advances and the biggest challenges when working with real estate agents?
Biggest advances would be one, being able to help with the marketing. And I'm telling you, Trisha, one other person, we're creating YouTube channels now. So get this, Trisha, getting YouTube channels now with people's AI avatars. So it's not even them on the YouTube channel. 550 subscribers in 40 days, multiple leads rolling in, completely done for you YouTube channel. And it's your AI avatar that's running it, right? And so being able to run the marketing, being able to dominate SEO. Oh my gosh, Trisha, what will be rolling out in this new year? We are literally getting people 3,000% more seen on SEO, dominating the #1 charts on each one because of sheer volume and just ability to utilize these tools. So your marketing can just be drastically affected by AI. Also, just time. The amount of time agents are saving on different things. I remember there was a deal that was about to fall through. It was like a $750,000 deal for one of our clients. And then there was all these addendums, all these CC&R, all these documents to look through. And then the people were saying, oh, well, you can't do this and this on this land. So we're like, all right, we work with a tool. It's called Whoosy, and it's a private GPT. So you can upload all of your documents legally into it. It's HIPAA compliant. So you can upload all your documents into it. It's like, can you find here in the contracts where it says I can do this, this, and this with the land? Read through the over 300 pages of documents and said, here are the lines that make sure that your client can do this with the land. They presented it and they're like, oh shit, I guess you can do that. Boom, sealed the deal. That wouldn't have happened without that, because there's no way someone's reading through 300 pages and finding that information. So now we're saving all that time, saving money. So the biggest things that we're seeing people use it for is their marketing and then their time-saving efficiency.
Yeah.
Literally using it as their AI assistant. The biggest struggle that we have for agents is getting them to admit that the way they're doing things is wrong. Getting them to realize that there is a better way. The whole thing, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. If you don't want to learn, then this isn't for you. And you're just going to get passed up. You can say, well, I don't use social media and I still get business.
Yeah.
I do things this way. This isn't social media.
Yeah.
I just want to be very clear. This is more like the internet than it is like social media. Social media, yeah, you can get by without using it. You don't have to use social media, but you have to use the internet to be in this business. 1,000,000%. You can't be in this business without using the internet. That's how it's going to be with AI. You just simply won't be able to be in the business.
So, Google, when it first came around, and of course, as it's grown and it's like one of the top search engines, and everyone goes to, like, I go to Google, like, how do I learn about this? Or what about this? Or YouTube. They say that like ChatGPT is going to outdo Google. AI is going to outdo that because like you just said, the intelligence is insane. And in the real estate world, you can train it to be a broker, to have the brain of a broker. So with all of these NAR settlements and lawsuits, and this is just the beginning of the freaking lawsuits, because now everybody's looking for a reason to sue us. And so it's like everyone's cautious about, is this correct? And what do we do about this? And you can ask artificial intelligence and you get an answer like that.
I literally, the first prompt I have everybody include is, it's about this long, and it said, and make sure that your Chat GPT, look, it's not like you can take this to the bank and say it's perfect. But the first thing I say is, hey, I'm a real estate agent. Here are the fair housing laws. Make sure all of my marketing follows these guidelines. And then you put it in there and tell it to save to memory. And all of a sudden, your Chat GPT knows the fair housing laws and knows that you're a real estate agent and makes sure that you can follow them. I also highly, 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 highly recommend, and people should know this, Chat GPT is your data is public. So you can't upload client privileged information into it. You can't upload documents that aren't available to the public on Chat GPT. You want to talk about the next fines and next things that are coming in. You have to use a private GPT, a private large language model, if you want to upload those documents. And we are working with a company that we're going to be bringing public in 2025. They're already pretty much public, but we'll be bringing them with us. It's a private GPT, so that way agents, it's HIPAA compliant. You can literally upload your contracts into it, and in a matter of seconds, say like, hey, pull all the dates that I need for this closing, draft it in an email, and then send it over to me. And we'll literally read through all your documents, pull it up for you, and draft in the email and send it over to you. So like, there's going to be the wave of just really understanding. You want to talk about next lawsuits? A lot of people not understand that Chat GPT is public and then all that is shared publicly. So you just got to know some of that stuff.
So when you're training other real estate agents, are you finding people are having a hard time like wrapping their head around how to use this correctly?
You know what's funny, Trisha? I'm training 80-year-olds how to do this.
I was going to ask you that.
Like seriously, that's not even we are training 80-plus-year-olds how to use this. And the thing that they all come away from it is, that's actually a lot easier than I thought. People who didn't know how to use like technology before, artificial intelligence is actually a lot simpler than you think. It's literally a form of intelligence that you get to speak to. Like, if you don't know how to use it, you can literally ask it, hey, I don't know what to do right now. Can you help me? And it will help you. So like, for the people who say it's too difficult, they really haven't tried. And the people who say it doesn't work that well, when it first came out, it was a little shaky. It just keeps getting smarter and smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
So, artificial intelligence now can read the DNA, alter it, so that way it gets rid of diseases, and it can literally cure some of the diseases that are out there. And some people tell me it's not smart enough to write their listing description. And
that's crazy. Yeah. Crazy. When we look at it, like, and there are people like listing coordinators. That's a role in a team, of course. And listing coordinators forever would have to, they don't go to the property. They got to study the pictures, study the video, come up with descriptions. It's time consuming. And there are some of these listing coordinators that absolutely refuse to use Chat GPT. It's like, no one can write it better than me. It's like, are you out of your mind? Watch how much better it's going to sound in seconds. Time saves time. And so like for a business owner, it's like, we can eliminate that position because we can use ChatGPT on all of it. I can do it myself because it just takes minutes now, seconds.
Yeah, no, you can do all of it in seconds, and it's just absolutely amazing.
How
I'm just
have
really
you seen it advance from the 2 years that you guys started training agents with it to where we are today, almost the end of 24?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I've seen advanced is it can now think, right? So we're in level 2 of generative AI. So
Yeah.
like it thinks in probabilities. And here's the best way that I can kind of make this simple, right? So if we're playing chess, right, Trisha, before level 2 generative AI and it's thinking in probabilities, it would just like if I'm playing against the AI would just make the best chess move every time, no matter what,
I bet.
right? So it'll make the best chess move every time, no matter what. And it wouldn't think, it would just be like, it looks at the board and says, this is the best move, this is the best move, this is the best move. Now it thinks in probabilities. So now it says, normally this is the best move, but I know Nick, and Nick likes to bring out his queen, and he gets a little reckless with his queen. So normally this is the best move, but since I know Nick, I am going to make this move now. So why is this so drastic and so big? Because now it's kind of human-like, right?
Yeah.
It's thinking in probabilities based on its training, based on its memory and its past experiences, and makes a decision. Is that not how we are?
Yeah.
Based on our personality types, based on our past experiences, we run mental cognitions and make decisions. So now its ability to learn is the biggest thing that I am seeing as the from the beginning till now, because it's able to pick up more on my writing style, my language style, my patterns, my company itself, and put together different meta points that I can draw conclusions based off of. So its intelligence and ability to learn is the biggest thing that I've seen.
Are you seeing more business owners in other fields come into your training, like insurance, outside of the real estate world?
We've had it happen, but I tell people, look, I know real estate agents.
Yeah.
And I said, I talked to one of my mentors before and we asked him, hey, why didn't you guys go outside of the industry? And he's like, we know real estate agents. Here's the reality. Can I do it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like marketing and branding, it's like I can create a class for any field that you ask, and I can consult any field. But I know real estate agents, and I want to go deeper than anybody else into this field. That's why we're doing live trainings every single week. That's why we're just having one singular focus, because I know other people are like, what if I did this industry? What if I did industry? And I'm going to smoke them, Trisha.
Years ago when I was little, my dad said, because my dad was an entrepreneur and he just instilled that in us, that if you want to work for yourself, number one, you got to figure out what you can do and that you love, and something that you can never be replaced at, something that's never going to be obsolete. Well, of course, my dad's a lot older, so he didn't see, and he's unfortunately gone now because of freaking COVID, but he never got to see artificial intelligence. Now, if you're future pacing, like what would you tell somebody that's like, I think I want to go start my own business, or a 12-year-old today? What could you possibly tell them that's not going to be obsolete because of artificial intelligence?
What I would tell them is make AI your closest collaborator. Learn how to communicate with AI, because it's the language of the future. The person who can collaborate with AI the best will definitely always have a job, will be in business. So make AI your closest collaborator, learn it, and just really, I mean, the basic principles of business won't change. The basic principles of business won't change. I think like what I tell people is, solve a problem. Don't create a problem that then needs solved, right? That's just what a lot of tech companies and people do is, hey, if you're having this problem, and most people are like, well, no, I'm not. Like don't create a problem, solve a real one. And just make AI your closest collaborator. Learn how to communicate with it. Start training it who you are, what you like to do. And you can even start asking ChatGPT, like, hey, based on everything you know about me, what are some companies that I can build? What are some things that I should do? What are some hobbies I should pick up? What are some things that you know about me that can be applied to the business world? And it will start helping you kind of mold your future too.
If you kind of think of like, and I'm not knocking anybody, but everybody's like a life coach of some sort. And most of these people, in my opinion, have never experienced life. They don't have a freaking clue how to tell people to guide it. I think they could be one of the industries that gets eliminated.
Look, Coaches. Like there's like I can literally role play with Chat GPT and then say,
Yes.
become my real estate coach and help me with my rebuttals. And it will help
Yes.
you with your rebuttals. So, it's just going to be fascinating how this plays out because there's a lot of industries that people really don't see coming that it's going to be replaced. And even
Yeah.
back to the trucking industry, looking at cars, and it's funny because we like to look at it as self-driving cars,
Yeah.
right? Like that's like the phrase that I've been hearing. But the reality is these are just robots that look like a car. Like,
That's
like
so
seriously,
crazy.
these are AI robots that just happen to look like a car that can get us places. It's not like, oh yeah, because a self-driving car, we all know what that means and can conceptualize it. The
Yeah.
reality is this is a robot that can just take you somewhere else. That's what it really is, right? So like
Yes.
again, when you start changing your frame and your lens on a lot of this, you start realizing we're a lot closer to a very different future than people think.
It's mind blowing, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Does any of
absolutely
it
is.
alarm you?
Absolutely. Yeah, it does alarm, but I'm optimistic, right?
Yeah,
I'm optimistic about what it can do because I believe we're looking at the future of abundance,
we
where
are.
energy is no longer scarce, water is no longer scarce. These things will become abundant, and education will become abundant because everybody has a personalized tutor that can teach them anything right here at their fingertips. Um, yeah,
Have you heard of this gadget called Plaud?
I don't think I have. No.
Okay, Nick, you have to get
Which one
this.
is that?
It's Plaud, and
Okay.
it's about the size of a credit card, and you literally just throw it down, whether you're having a meeting, doing a podcast, doing anything, a lecture, whatever, and it
Yeah,
records,
yeah,
and then it transcribes everything using
yeah.
artificial intelligence. You can have it give you the bullet points. You can have it do a full blown summary. You
Mm,
can have it write everything that you said. It is insane, and it's in minutes done for you.
yeah.
Like there, you don't need an assistant right with you. You have this Plod device. It's $150 on Amazon.
Wow. That's
Mind
pretty
blowing.
cool.
And it was. I learned it of a mastermind last month. I was
Wow.
like, they took a couple
Wow.
of the guys at my table had. I was like, what the hell is that? And they're like, oh,
Yeah,
you don't have
it
one of
is.
these? I'm like, no, I got to get one. So I came back and ordered
God.
one immediately. And it's crazy because again, I don't have to worry about doing this class again. We just recorded it and I have the
Yeah.
whole thing transcribed and now it can be a course and we can launch this and we can tweak it and we can chop it up and we can send it to VAs and have them create content. It's crazy, Nick.
Yeah. No,
Crazy.
you're
But
right.
that's artificial intelligence, you
Hmm.
know? When you look at like where we're going and the agents that you're working with and your Krem Institute, like what's your goal? Because I know you have one. You have a, I'm sure, a huge
Yeah.
goal with y'all's vision. What does that look like for y'all?
Our massively transformative purpose is to create the evolution of the real estate agent because every agent will need to learn AI somewhere, and we want to be that somewhere for the real estate industry. Um, So, like, our goal and what we want to do is I want every agent in the country to be AI certified through the Krem Institute, to be the place that people go to, just like people became NAR realtors. And it's like,
Yeah.
hey, if you want to make it in this industry, you have to learn AI and how to do it. And we make it simple for real estate agents. We help real estate agents make a transition to an AI powered business. And for us, my massively transformative purpose is to truly create the evolution of the real estate agent where AI and agents become synonymous and they work together as collaborators in the new future.
So walk somebody, because it's mostly real estate agents that watch
Yeah.
this, walk somebody through that. They see this and they're like, I need to learn more about this. What does that look like?
Yeah.
What will they gain?
It's really simple. Well, what you will gain is you'll gain you'll start to gain the life of a real estate agent that you thought when you first got in the industry. More time freedom, more in control of your time freedom. You'll be able to, like I ask agents all the time, who here, if you just had another version of yourself, your business would be great. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's what we're going to give you. We're going to give you another version of yourself, but that it's actually even smarter and can help you collaborate on different things. We'll make AI your greatest collaborator. What we do is we just put you through the course, which is updated. We keep our AI updated course. This year, we're launching 3.0. So we're going to be launching that in the new year, AI Certified Agent 3.0. And then every month we do monthly masterminds to keep you up to date and to just give you just like, hey, here's something that you can use that will save you just more time. My main goal is to save agents the most valuable asset that they have, time, as you grow your business.
How long is the course? What kind of training does that look like for them?
So it'll be anywhere from like 15 to 20 hours, depending on how long it takes them to get through it. So 15 to 20 hours of training, and then they actually have a graduation call with one of our actual humans, right? Chad on the back end will take them through a graduation call, make sure that they are completely set up. So they get the video course plus the live monthly masterminds, where they can continue to ask questions on.
Do they collaborate together as a group?
Yeah, great question. So we do have a private group that is on the back end that they get lifetime access to, so they can collaborate with other AI certified agents who are constantly posting how they're using these tools, different trainings that they're attending, and bringing information into it. And it's little things like we created one of the trainings we created was how to identify your target buyer for your listings. So people who have had listings sitting on the market, they put their entire marketing through this, revamp it, and they're getting it sold within the week. And it's just little things like literally helping you become a better agent.
I love that. I
Yeah.
believe, and you do too, because we're trained by the same people and we run the same group, like first to market is usually the one that wins. And so I know you guys are always, you're always one step ahead. You're like, I want to be first to market with this. Is there
Yeah.
anything you can hint towards 25 of what it could look like for people to work with you guys?
So we are running AI Certified Agent 3.0. So we're going to be
Okay.
launching 3.0 here in the future. So that's going to be
Okay.
launching in the new year. We will be launching. There are two things that we are launching. We are doing soft launches on. Let me just tell you, we will be launching at full scale the Krem Institute of Artificial Intelligence, which will be the AI platform company for the real estate industry, for teams, for agents, and for the workforce behind them alike. An entire ecosystem that allows everyone to grow together. There will be market exclusivity that comes with this as well. And that's about as much as I'm going to say right now, Trisha. But what I will say is, I'll be discussing this with Trisha, who will get first access to some of these tools. So if you guys do want to be in the loop with this, make sure you reach out to her.
You know what I can envision? It's because again, like a friend of mine, I was in her house last week and she goes, call my office. And it was like
Yeah,
9 o'clock at night. And I go, what? She goes, call my office right now. And so
yeah,
I dial the number and I put it on speakerphone and it's this girl, I think she named her Jen. And Jen
yeah,
answers the call at 9 o'clock at night. And I give
yeah,
her my criteria, what I'm looking. She sounds like totally like a human. And she's like, how can I help you? And so I tell her what
yeah,
I want. We go on this conversation. I ended up hanging up on her because she would have just continued to talk to me.
yeah,
And she's followed up with me since then. And my friend's like, that's a robot. Like, she does not
yeah,
exist. And she can answer the phone 24/7. I can see like a bunch of those. I'm
yeah.
certain you're working on that. That's got to be what you're doing because you know that world. You've lived it for years.
Yeah, inbound calls is one thing. I think I've been keeping people a little clear about outbound AI calling, which a lot of people are starting to do because that
Yeah,
is a major gray area with a lot of lawsuits that are coming into it.
I bet.
So, all right, so this might be a little contradictory to that, but this is my belief on this is especially with the lawsuits that are happening in the industry, there are some things the AI robot can and can't say over the phone legally, right?
Yeah.
So, with everything that's happening, I'm keeping people a little bit more clear from that sector. At least outbound too, because that's a major gray area. Because imagine a world, Trisha, where people can legally have an AI robocaller call. My phone wouldn't stop ringing. People would be calling me
For
24/7.
sure.
So it's a different gray area. But there are some things around that same line that we are working on that we'll be launching here in the new year.
It's crazy because I am, we cold call because we're in real estate and I'm the
For sure.
worst person to cold call ever. I hang up on everyone. And I
Yeah.
was out going to an appointment yesterday and I had my daughter with me. So the phone's on speaker in the car. And
Yeah. Yeah.
literally, and I think it was a robot called
Yeah.
and said, this is a cold call. You can give me a few seconds if you want, or you can just hang up. What would you like to do? And I was like, click. And I
Like
told her, I said, I don't know if that was a real person or if it was a robot, but I
it's a shit.
listened for that delay. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
that tone of voice. It's like, I'm not doing this. Click.
Yeah, I hear you.
It'll be interesting to see how people go because if you look
It
at like
will.
a lot of social media now, it's just become a nonstop freaking infomercial. And it's like sell, sell.
Yeah,
Everyone's just like pitching, pitching, pitching. It's like, oh man, enough. This,
yeah,
this could turn into one of those same things where it's like, I just want to talk to a real person. Click.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
absolutely. I mean, how many times have you called? Like, I hate calling some of the banks, and it's like, give me a person, give me a
Yes.
person. So, like I tell people, if if you want to go the AI calling route for inbound, be ready, because if you have somebody that's calling you that wants to sell their home and they get a robot and not a person, they're not going to be too happy. And you might
Yep.
have just lost $20, $30, $40,000,
For
right?
sure.
Depending on who they are.
Yep.
So there's going to be a fine line between how it gets integrated. And I believe we're going to walk that line here with agents. You know, AI is going to move fast, but wherever
Yeah.
it goes, you're going to see us.
I think it's going to become, and only time will tell, but I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of like quality, like human. I
Yes.
want to talk to a human with a brain, that a real person with emotion and feeling. And if the person on the other end starts crying or something emotional comes out,
Yeah.
there's someone that's on the other end able to receive it, where a robot can't do that.
You know, our number one belief at our institute is I believe AI is here to spend less time behind a computer and more time communicating with clients.
I love
And I
that.
truly believe that, because it can do all the tasks that take you hours, and not just hours, but energy.
Yes.
You can't tell me if you had to stay up late doing paperwork for 4 hours that you have the same energy, you're just as personable, you're just as likely to have a good conversation the next day as if you spent 10 minutes on it,
For sure.
right? So I believe it's here to actually help us become more human if you utilize it right.
So for real estate agents that are paying
Yeah.
attention and they're watching this, and there's a lot of them that fear that they'll be out of business with artificial intelligence. What say you on that?
You know, when the internet first came out, people also were afraid that computer viruses could spread to humans.
Yeah.
That was a headline in the New York Times. Computer virus spreads to humans, right?
Yeah.
There will always be fear when it comes to new technology, but you got to do it anyways, right? So here's the thing. If all right, so there's the agents who think, will AI put me out of business and all these different things. If you don't do anything, you are 100% going to be put out of business.
Yeah.
So you just have a choice to make, right? Will you put yourself in the best position to win, or are you just going to throw in the towel and bitch and complain the entire time? The choice is yours.
So if I'm a real estate agent and I've never heard of this before, what are one of the first things I should do?
You should go to our YouTube channel, AI for Real Estate Agents, and we do a free training every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern on how to best use AI for your business. I would first go to all the free trainings, soak up as much information as you can, and then eventually graduate and become a Krem.ai. Go to our website to learn how you can become the world's first AI certified agent.
So where can they find your YouTube? Tell us your YouTube channel.
It is AI for Real Estate Agents. So if you just go
Love
to
that.
YouTube and type in AI for Real Estate Agents, you will find us. You can subscribe. And like I said, we do free training every single week.
AI for real estate agents. Nick, final thoughts on your future, your vision, 2025 AI in the real estate industry.
You know, what I will say is we are literally witnessing the birth of a new species on this planet. And you have the opportunity to get ahead of this thing and ride the AI wave, or the opportunity to be drowned by it. The decision is yours. The only thing holding you back is your desire to learn and form partnerships. So if that sounds like you have a desire to learn, you want to form a partnership, then ride with us, because we're riding the wave.
How do they get more info about the Krem Institute?
They can just go to www.krem.ai to learn more about what we do and how we're helping agents.
I love it. You guys, number one, I've watched Nick grow like multiple things for years. So I'm like a testimonial for him. I love him and he's amazing. And he is like passionate about everything he gets involved in. It's literally for the good of the real estate agent and to make sure that they're not just relevant, but that they're thriving, which is number one, why he's on Rise and Thrive. But number two, why he's just making such a difference in this world. Thank you, Nick.
Yeah. Thank you, Trisha. Thanks for having me on.
For sure. You guys have an awesome day. Tune in next week. Bye, y'all.